was that moment, though, that you pointed out. Musetti kicking the ball, hitting the line judge. And when we were in the back, we talked about defaults. We talked with Tim Hedman, who experienced that at Wimbledon. And we sat there and we went, wait, nothing is called. Whether it's a default or a penalty or not, nothing was called. After the match, Tiafoe was asked about this in his press conference. He talked about the match, but also, how do we leave with nothing and no result?
Tough conditions today. No question about it. I think ultimately he just he was more willing, kind of just hanging there, hang tough. A lot of junk shots today. He defended incredible with some high balls that are always landing in. Never could go just out. But yeah, he was just tougher and in the winning ugly department, because it wasn't going to be clean from either of us. It was really, really windy and tough conditions, and he was more willing to do that today than I was. Yeah, I mean, obviously he did that and nothing happened. I think that's comical, but it is what it is. Nothing happened, so there's nothing really to talk about.
So it sounds like it's because there was no malicious intent or anger that they went that way. It still happened, though.
I would love to dive deep into it. This is a delicate situation. You don't want to go into this match. It's a huge moment, quarterfinals. You don't want to default anyone. You see the kick. To me, that's an anger. You're not kicking a ball for fun out here, especially. I understand that it was an accident. You did not mean to hit the umpire, and I'm sure that Musetti was fully sorry about the situation that he was in. But in the delicate sense, the moment that it is not in a moment where the umpire is not injured, that's when we're all going to jump arms. We need to stop this before that happens. And I think we can look at other sports. You pop a ball to a referee in basketball, you're getting ejected. You mishandle a pass and put hands on a ref in football, you're getting ejected. There is a steep line, whether or not you meant it in a malicious way or in an accidental way, of you do not touch an umpire. And I think that needs to evolve into tennis very quickly. And I understand that this one was let slide. We had the Novak Djokovic where he hit the ball backwards. Yes, it was with the racket, so it came off with a little bit more force. To me, there is no line that we need to toe. It is either you touched an umpire or you didn't touch an umpire. Plain and simple, on accident or on purpose, because the second it goes bad, it's going to go really bad. And I think that's what tennis needs to prevent and follow what the other sports do. You put hands on an umpire, the ball hits an umpire on your purposeful act or accidental act, you are ejected. It is a default. Of course, we don't want to see it as tennis fans, but you are pros, behave like pros, and I am, yes, the pot is calling kettle black right here, for sure.
Let me argue that, though. If I'm passing you a ball in basketball and Lefkoe's the ref and it accidentally hits him, I shouldn't be thrown out. If I watch that kick there, if you watch it in slow motion, Musetti, the ball kind of hit his ankle, then his foot. In my opinion, it was an accident. It wasn't malicious. So in that case, look at this. Watch, he kicks it. It kind of hits a little high on his foot and rolls off. And
if that was an American, for sure, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt.
Look, he's probably a great soccer player, a great footballer, but he shanked that a little bit. And the last thing we want to see is a player get defaulted in a moment like this.
Of course. That's not a point I'm arguing.
It was an accident.
I'm more arguing that the accident is always going to be there until it happens on purpose. And I think you prevent both. I think both should never happen. You shouldn't take a ball where it's even at risk of hitting a ball girl or boy, an umpire, somebody in the stands. That shouldn't even be a risk out there, because the second that it happens to a degree that is too far, that's when we all pay the price, and that's something that nobody wants to see, hands down.
Yeah, I truly think every scenario is case by case. I'm not a black or white rule on this. If the ball hits the umpire, I think we need to look at every single one. And this one, to me, was an accident. I'm happy with the no call, if that's what we want to call it. Sloane, pick a side.
Oh, God. In this case, obviously no one wants to be defaulted in a quarterfinals of a Grand Slam. That's just insane. I don't think that it was on purpose. I don't think it was malicious, whatever. That was just dumb, I would say. I do think that it's all happened to one of us where we hit a ball, did something stupid, and almost hit someone or almost whatever. But I do think in tennis, the last couple of years, it has gotten out of control. So I don't know if that's defaulting everyone. I don't know if that's giving him a fine after the tournament. That's $25 grand so he doesn't do it again. I don't know what that is, but there does need to be some sort of consequence to when these things are happening, because I think it just continues to happen and nothing is happening. And I think the no call today was just another reminder that you're not going to get in trouble, which I don't think is the right message to send.
And I think amongst all that, I think Frances does have a right to be frustrated, whether it is
Absolutely.
a call or not a call. And I think to add to that, there was a number of calls in those matches where he was arguing with calls, ins and outs, and then we have the ability to see the replays and to see that he was actually right in those situations. I think that added to that, in addition to the fact that you get eliminated in the fashion which
Yeah, he had that other call. A ball was called.
2 of them in that one game.
Two of them. The umpire came down, overruled a ball that was out. Umpire came down, ruled it was in. And if we went to the Hawkeye that we could see on the TV,
which they don't have here,
which they don't have, it was 11 millimeters out. Look, I don't know how big that is. That's still a small margin.
Right.
But not on the tennis court. That's clearly out. So they probably got to bring the electronic line calling back. This is a major. We can't have errors like that happening in quarterfinals.
I'm just so sick and tired of umpires and including themselves in a situation that ruins the match. It ruins the flow of the match even. Because we were talking about, Sloane, when Maddie Keys was playing Haley Baptiste, what a call can do of Haley Baptiste having set point, or it's Maddie's ad, and what that could change in a match. We could solve that problem in a second of the technology we've been using all before this Grand Slam. And it's just because the stubbornness of an organization of not wanting to use it, and also it's always a money grab. Where's somebody getting the bottom line? It's certainly not us as players. It's always the bottom line of the federations or whoever is signing the checks at the end of the day of if they're getting the extra penny, and I think that ruins the sport as a whole.
It's a frustrating moment. At the same time, Lorenzo Musetti was phenomenal, and it was still a 3-1 win. He deserves all the credit. He has been phenomenal here at Roland-Garros in years past, and now he's trying to do something he's never done, which is get to a final.